This is a great question here. Anonymous says, does God need humans? Since he is perfect, does he need anything at all? What do you think, Father?
The short answer is no. God does not need humans. Yes, he is perfect. God needs nothing at all. It is impossible for God to have a need. The reason is because he is himself the source of all things that could even satisfy any need that he would have. So if God had a need, it would imply not only that he's not self-sufficient and perfect within himself, but it would also imply that there's something outside of him that would not be him, that would not be within the realm of his being, and that could provide something for him. And so that thing would be greater than him, which means that would be God. Anything the higher would itself. So God, from a natural theology point of view, has sometimes been defined as that higher than which cannot be conceived. It's the highest possible thing we could think of. So the question is great because it does strike at kind of this realization. Whoever asked this question is starting to realize, wait a second, if God had a need, there would be something higher than him or outside of him that could supply that. So this is a great question because it's sort of showing that human reason has this natural tendency to pursue the understanding of our final cause, of the greatest things. And so cooperating with that desire to pursue causes, to know and understand and try to grasp the highest thing is a real gift in human nature. And it's one of the highest things we can possibly do. So this is a great question. And just a little Lenten reflection here, though. Oh, it's so powerful, isn't it? When we had this gospel to open us up for Lent last Sunday, maybe the greatest understatement of all of Scripture. And after he had fasted for 40 days, he was hungry, right? Imagine that. The creator, right? The creator of the universe chose to feel needy. Remarkable. Remarkable. The source of all being and fulfillment chose to feel need. Christ, in his body was so perfect, he wouldn't have needed to eat anything his entire life. He could have, through the power of the divine person, sustained his human body in existence perfectly and functioning perfectly with no food. But he chose to submit himself to the condition of human nature, meaning he did choose to need food. So God can choose to sort of have a need, but of course we know that it's not a real need. But in his love for human nature, his love for us that he created and desires to redeem, he chose to give himself that visceral experience of dependency that we call hunger, which is the most easily accessible human feeling of neediness, which is why it's so important that we fast in Lent, because then we feel hungry and we're like, oh, that's how I should feel towards God. Imagine if our soul could actually hunger and thirst for God. That's what fasting should do for us. It's so beautiful and important. In my opinion, this is a total aside, but I'm a guy for asides, as anyone who listens to me knows. I don't really think fasting has all that much to do with training our willpower to say no. Okay, we need to be able to do that to fast. It is important. But I think it's really about training our affections to be not for the things of the world and to be for God. Because imagine if we had this, as David describes in the beautiful psalm, right? Like sicut cervus, right? Like the deer pines after fountains of living water. So my soul desires you, oh my God. David was just a man of passionate desire. And I love the way we describe Daniel. He's called a vir desideriorum, a man of desires. Our whole being is one burning desire for God. So there's so much to be said about that. But this is a great question. God doesn't have needs. How amazing is it that he chooses to experience neediness? That's so incredible.